The KvK is over. Holy, probably one of the most epic Zig fights in Rise of Kingdoms, at least to my knowledge. I've fought 2 Zig fights now, and this was a wild KvK, including 1718, 3473 where I was at, 1981, 1079. We had all this stuff laid out, and it was an extremely even KvK, good matchmaking. We're going to go through it all. We're going to show you what happened from the triple rally that lasted an hour on the pass, insane, to the Zig fight, to everything, all the reports, and how everything broke down right here. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I put out videos all the time, and I love doing this content. Now, those of you who follow me have seen me live stream this entire Pass 7, Kingsland, Zone 5, all the fighting in this KvK. It has been absolutely wild. If you enjoy the video, throw a like on here, and if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. It does not cost you anything. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell, get the alerts anytime I put out this content. Well, this is KvK. And this is the end of it. We just ended this thing. We called off the dogs yesterday. We had an even KvK with top versus bottom, fire camp, earth camp, and then wind camp, and then us down here in water camp. And oh my gosh, on paper, 1718 and fire camp had so much power. These guys hadn't fought a KvK in any kind of high scale fighting in like 7 months. So they had so much power, and they were almost overwhelming. We were able to hold them off and do all those things. We had so much territory here. It was a 4-day Kingsland. Okay, we were stalemated here. Our allies were stalemated here. Earth camp in 1981, and those guys were pushing down pretty good. We made a Zig fight comeback during the downtime of 1718 and earth camp, and we took the Zig. Wind held the Zig for the first cap, and we actually still kind of own it, and so it has not reopened. So you can see that we still have the Zig technically, even though we're not activated and connected to it. But we had all kinds of crazy stuff. This KvK started off in Zone 5. We had a botched opening where all of our forts got destroyed. We had to regain territory, and we knew right then and there, we knew with our allies and our campmates, we knew that we could hold against fire camp because we didn't have any territory, but we back built and we got the territory and we started fighting back, and we made it a 2 or 3 day Zone 5 fight. It was a lot of fun. Once that tide hit, we're in tides, KvK by the way, once the tide hit where you could preload flags, we called off the dogs because they have so much power in fire camp, and there was just no point to it. So we filled up our Zone 6, did all that. We went into the altar. We lost one, we won one on the altar. And the uptime and downtime, this is the KvK known as Rise of Uptimes because they had crazy uptime 1718, and then we had crazy uptime during ours. So it was a back and forth nonstop. It was the same thing with Pass 7, the triple rally on Pass 7. You've seen a video of mine. I'll have a card in the top for that video. It was absolutely crazy, and this was the triple rally. It ran for an hour. Fire camp sent 60 million troops to die. Over 2 billion kill points between the 3 rallies, whether that was from the swarms, whether that was doing the damage on the pass. They wanted to keep this pass. They wanted to drop power, so they just kept loading it up. And the reports were just staggering. Like, why would they do that? It was insane, especially what the Shapur report did from Cashman's rally. It was absolutely crazy what we did at the pass rally. Then we came in to prep for Kingsland, and we got into Kingsland. We had a pretty good opening. We did pretty well of stalemating here, and then it was a back and forth for a few days. Same thing over here with our allies in wind. Wind really did well this KvK, and 1981 definitely was able to overwhelm towards the end. We ran out of steam, ran out of gas. We just couldn't keep it up, and we literally, after 4 days of Kingsland fighting, we literally said, okay, we're done. We got to be done with this thing. We got to move on. So credit to 3473, credit to 1781, or 1718, all the kingdoms that are involved in this. And we'll go through all this stuff as I pull up pro kingdoms here. This is the breakdown of how this thing worked out. Okay, and if you come up here to the camps, you got military camp breakdown. Look at what we were able to do in water camp. So our campmates of 1879, 2304, we worked extremely well with them. 3473, I mean, it is a fighting camp. I mean, they fight. and we were able to hold field, have good war leading, be able to have crazy activity, especially during our uptime. And these guys didn't quit. And I got to give them a lot of credit. I came to 3473. I knew Akanada. I knew a few other players over here. And I took my second account and I rolled it over here after being in 2293. And it was so much fun to play this KvK. I was drained on speed ups. I got some restoration on the speed ups. I gemmed it up pretty good. And you know me, I ran the account into the ground. And so Water Camp overall, they lead all camps in KP. Just absolutely performing off the charts. Fire Camp, obviously the big camp there with 331.3 billion kill points. You see the deads. Fire Camp and Earth Camp just had more power. These are our enemies, Fire Camp and Earth Camp. We were allied with Wind, and Fire Camp and Earth Camp just had more troops, more power, more farms, and they obviously had more deads. But what we were able to do was just incredible. You come down here to the breakdown of the actual kingdoms. 1718 was the strongest kingdom by far. I mean, their Imperium. And so this is what we dealt with. Look at their deads. Oh my gosh. They were just loading up that pass and they were sending deads left and right. All of that. They were so fat. They had so many main accounts sitting over 150 million power. So they had so many troops to spend. And then 1981, that's Big Kane's kingdom. Big Kane and I had our battle for the kill points. I'll talk about that later. But they did incredibly well as they really carried Earth Camp. Earth Camp did okay with 2387 and 2203, but they had to really be carried by 1981. That was basically what it was. It was 1718 and 1981 really kind of carrying their camps. And then from us in 3473, this is where we placed on our kill points, extremely respectable, especially for the power and the size of the kingdom. And then we got massive help from our camp mates in 1879 and 2304. They were great. And then Wind Camp really collectively between 1079 and 2965, they did awesome at being able to hold and get the uptime and do really, really well. So that's kind of a breakdown of how this thing worked out per camp. Credit to all this stuff. I don't know who's going to get the star. Of course, you know me, I don't really care about stars, but Fire and Earth are going to have to figure this out. They're going to have to figure it out big time. There's a little bit of inflation going on over here with the 17-18 deads because they took that pass rally. They wanted to take it. They were taking awful trades and they just kept filling it for a triple rally for an hour. They took 60 million off that 1 hour alone. And so they've got to really kind of figure this out with 1981, because 1981, in my opinion, as we were holding 17-18 really, really well, we had no business. I mean, to be really honest, Fire Camp versus Fire Camp versus us in Water Camp, we had no business being as successful as we were against Fire Camp. Earth Camp was the one that really, really did well. They lost their Zone 5, but they hammered it in Kingsland. Just hammered it. And they were really, really good. They finally pushed Wind out to win the Kingsland. We couldn't get any help. Wind was completely drained, and we couldn't hold 17-18 any longer. But that was what was crazy about this KvK. So they're got to figure that out. That ought to be a lot of fun. And then so when you come into this, overall, I want to show you kind of the, let me go into here. I'm going to show you the breakdown when it came to the individual stats. Of course, Akanada at the top. Look at this, 11.8 billion kill points, just crazy. Itachi has his other account here. Of course, I'm in 606 with Itachi, 9.6 billion. Moof here had 9 billion. And then there's our boy Big Kane. This dude, let me tell you something, guys. He and I had a KP competition. He's a content creator, great streamer. I was rating a lot of his streams. He was rating me. We were having fun because he was on the other side of 1981. This dude was war leading. He was garrisoning. He was fighting. Look at this KP. That's with a garrison in half the time. So he's only fighting with 6 marches. And we had a bet on KP. Now, he gave me a weighted average. So I get 1.5. Basically, I get 1.5 kill points for the competition with him based on 1 kill point for him. So I had a weighted situation because I didn't have the speed ups. This is my second account. I'm only fighting 6 marches. But I cannot, in good faith, even though I won the weighted competition with Big Kane, I cannot allow him to actually lose the bet. Not with what this guy did. It was absolutely crazy what he did. So credit to Big Kane and those guys. You can see Thanos there in our camp. Weta was the big one in 17-18. You get down in here, you got the Lamb and Jackie, my boy from 3321. He and I ended up in the same kingdom. It was a lot of fun. And then I'm down here in 15th. 5.6 billion kill points. I got more kill points on this account than I did on my main last KvK. It is just crazy what this account finds itself in with these KvKs. Of course, I fought 960 last KvK. So that's kind of the breakdown for the individuals. It was really, really a lot of fun. Now, let's go into my marches real quick. I'm going to bring up Cuba's mic situation. Now, I did show you Pro Kingdom, so I got to give them a shout out for all the cool stuff that they do. Here were my marches, okay? And as you can see, overall, my power ratio, now we did have an artifact. That's where you see this Ragnar Zuge that I ran. But overall, this is an infantry account. So it's always going to do well with my infantry. But it doesn't matter. Even though I have half critted gear on my archers, you see how well my chin, the question mark is chin, by the way. I haven't updated this. Mike's going to be mad at me. Elizabeth's going to be mad at me. Like, Chatsky, you got to update your report manager. But the Chin YSG just slayed, absolutely slayed. And then my BQ Wallace was right there with it. That is an insane march. Of course, it's got my pincer stuff on it. And then when I was garrisoning, I would run my BQ Luce. And of course, that's what it does. But that has the second pincer set, the second set of gear. So if that has all my full pincer set and full set of gear, it's probably my number one march with BQ and Luce. And then I ran Luce Alex. I had to do that because my second cab gear is kind of scuffed, so I had to make Arthur as strong as possible, so I put Philip behind him. I was running or considering running Luce with Philip. That's the way I'd like to do it, all things equal, and then put William behind Arthur, but I just couldn't do it. Philip behind Arthur is better, and I decided to run with that, and then I could bring Alex in. So Luce Alex, after 2 years now, this march is still crushing it. Ragnar CPO, it's got my third set of infantry gear. This thing does really, really well. People don't like Ragnar CPO. I don't know why. It does a ton of damage. It's really good in the field. And then I had an artifact situation going on here. And then I actually ran Chen with Zuge a handful of times and just did not get the same kind of results I get with YSG. That's just the way I play and the way it is. And then my calves come up on the rear. Now, here's the issue. And one of the reasons why I got popular being a YouTuber is because I was talking about how hard archers are to play. Before Chin, they're almost unplayable. You get targeted so bad, it's brutal. But now, the cavalry, it is plain and easy to see that the cavalry are targeted now. The cavalry need good commanders. They need the next round of combo commanders. Arthur needs help with the combo. And on my main, it's not like this for my cavalry because all my crazy gears on it and all my armaments, and then I run Attila. So you want to target my Attila on my main? Go nuts. I run that in the field with Philip. Or in an artifact KvK, I'll run it with a smite commander. And so from that standpoint, really good to see how this thing broke down and how now cavalry, it doesn't have my best gear. Of course, that's my infantry stuff, but it traded about even. You know, nothing special, nothing crazy. So that's kind of where I'm at when it comes to the cavalry. And so overall from there in the field, it was just absolutely crazy. We were rolling this thing on the Zig Fight. The Zig Fight lasted an entire day. They held the Zig, Fire Camp and Earth Camp held the Zig, no lie, for about 6 hours. Then we took it back and we were able to cap it. And so the field fighting was crazy. It was absolutely nuts, nonstop field. Look, we're at the Zig just hammering. Like, look at this. It's so much fun. This Zig Fight was just absolutely crazy. And you can see I'm running my 6 marches over here. That's all I ran. I didn't run 7, and we were having a blast with it. So I couldn't expect more. And I couldn't be more thankful for all the kingdoms that really poured it in this KvK. This was one of those KvKs that had an Imperium with 1718, but it had a lot of A seeds, and it was just a high-end KvK, tons of field fighting, tons of fun. And as in this day and age, when we don't have the crazy Super Imperium Strife KvKs, this is the kind of KvK you can find yourself in an A seed and have a blast with. And so credit to everybody. To the victor goes the spoils. They'll have to figure out their rewards and who's getting the star, but it was exceptional, and I want to thank everybody for coming in, watching us, hanging out with us in the live stream. It was so much fun. You guys got the breakdown from there. Big ups and big credit and kudos to Fire and Earth for sticking it out and winning this thing, and I couldn't be more proud of Water Camp and what we were able to do in 3473. It was really, really cool to see exactly what we've dropped so much power. Oh my gosh, it's been crazy. But these guys can go. Credit to the war leads. Of course, Levi's up there, Akanata. You've got Stitches, who helped war lead a little bit. You've also got Mofo and Lucifer. And then there were a few others. Hold on. I got to give some credit to these guys. There were a few others in here that definitely helped. You had great war. Night Fury, obviously, was a great war lead. All these different war leads that came in and helped Mo and them. And so it was awesome. So anyways, if you liked the video, please throw a thumbs up on it and help out the channel. That really helps out when I get the likes on the video. Also, if you haven't subscribed, once again, consider doing so. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit that subscribe button, and we will have more content as 606, my main account, is now getting into zone 5. Our pass will open tomorrow, so look for that. We want to give you content nonstop, and that's what we're doing. So signing off from my second account here. You won't see any live streaming from it for a while. I need to recover some speed ups. I did get a little bit with the Wheel of Fortune, so I do have a few left. And I didn't go completely bone dry on my gems. Of course, you know me with this account. I generally try to gem heal at the end of KvK. So we'll get out of here. Y'all have a great day, and